Hi guys. Hi, I'm Kimber, owner of Water Bear Photography and the Water Workshop. And this is my husband and resident tech finagler, Will. We met through technical cave diving, and that's a story for another day. But today we wanted to share with you an amazing new company called Blu3 and some of their products. Blu3 has generously agreed to sponsor a photography project that we are doing in conjunction with the Florida Springs Council. This project is going to raise awareness to our water's plight and how we can help it. So let's jump in. So the first product that we are going to share with you today is called the Nemo. Oh, that's large. Oh, wow. Okay. It comes in a really nice, solid backpack with tons of padding. And the Nemo is actually, even though it looks large, it's actually pretty lightweight. It weighs in at about 10 pounds. So let's see what's included with this. All right. So first things first, anytime you are diving, you need to have a properly displayed dive flag. This is what it looks like, and they include a pole to put it on with a drip cap. So this will stay, at attention all day as you're diving. Anytime you're under the water, this needs to be displayed for safety from boats and other people in the water. All right, there's also going to be instructions and a warranty. However, I do want to note that before we could even get one of these and test it out, we had to take an online safety course. And this course was really comprehensive, and it's available for free on the diveblu3.com website. So I do encourage you to check it out, because even as experienced divers, you can never have too much repetition of this kind of knowledge. So here's all the warranty information. And it looks like maybe some spare parts and patches. Oh, and they even include a sticker. Cool. Book, instructions, all of that. Let's see, next we have the battery pack. So this is what one of the batteries looks like for these. They have a really good runtime, but it's going to depend on each person's composition, the charge of the battery, among several other factors to determine how long it lasts you. However, I do believe that it's about an hour and a half for the average person. To test the battery level, you can push this button and it will display its charge level. So this one is actually ready to go. Yay for us. All right. So this is the buoy that goes around the product itself. It keeps it afloat, and it provides approximately 20 pounds of lift. So in an emergency, you can actually help use this as an additional buoyancy device. And it's this really high-vis yellow, which helps you stand out from the water for an extra safety feature. The nice thing about this also is that it clips directly to the product, so you don't have to worry about the product coming loose and floating away. So here's the actual unit itself. Let's pull it out if I can. It might be buckled in. Oh, it's buckled in. That's nice. It's really secure. Oh, and this is, okay. Cool. All right. So this is the unit itself. This is the compressor. This is the air intake valve that has to be removed anytime before the product is started. Once again, the battery is going to slide right into the bottom here and can be inserted. You just want to make sure that you're checking the terminals, but for full tech specs, I want to refer you back to their online course, where they're going to have much more comprehensive instructions than what we're providing today. The hose that comes with this is 10 feet, so this unit is not designed for depth any greater than 10 feet. 10 feet max, it's a hard limit. And this is the neat thing about this product that sets it apart from existing products on the market is that it's battery operated. So no smells with, fuel, no loud noises. It's much quieter. And it's a low pressure on demand regulator. It's called a smart reg. So that's what really sets this product apart, is that instead of creating a reservoir of air that divers have to suck it dry, this only produces it as you need it as you breathe. It also comes with this harness that helps keep it attached to you so you're not just holding it into your mouth with the pressure of your mouth and teeth. It has a harness that goes around your shoulders and torso to keep it firmly in place. Anything to add with that?
With the regulators, these actually have a sensor inside of them, and the sensor, when you breathe in, it triggers a sensor, which is what triggers the compressor to actually deliver air. So it's very, very different than like a Scuba setup, or even something like the Scuba or the hookah type setups, which has a constantly running compressor.
Awesome. So that's the Nemo. Once again, for shallower dives, 10 feet max, about an hour-and-a-half run time, and 10 pounds in weights. So let's look at its more robust cousin, the Nomad. So the differences between the Nomad and the Nemo, primarily, is that the Nomad is capable of going to 30 feet in depth versus 10. It has a slightly shorter run time, and the buoy is going to inflate differently. It also has a much larger battery than the Nemo does. So additionally, this cord is 40 feet in length, this hose, instead of the 10 feet in the other. The extra 10 feet does not mean that you can go to 40 feet. It is just to help with drag should you be diving and it trailing behind you, dealing with waves, currents, that kind of thing. So the other thing that's important to note is that instead of having a completely circular buoy like the Nemo, the Nomad actually has a dry bag instead that is dual inflated. So what that means is that it has two sides. Both are separately inflated from each other to provide extra redundancy, which is very important with diving. And it provides double the float resistance of 40 pounds versus 20 pounds of the Nemo. This also trails in the water ahead of the Nomad, so that if you're diving against a current or swimming and pulling it along, it prevents this unit from taking a nosedive and kind of following you and it flipping. An add-on that is available for purchase with the Nomad system is called Spare Air. What this is it is a redundant breathing system in for emergency use only. You would never use this to go down. This is not for fun. This is a bailout. So basically it has a regulator on it and it provides, I don't know how many minutes of air, but it's enough to get you to the surface should you have an issue with your unit. As divers know, you always want to have redundancy in every single thing, especially when it comes to breathing. It's the quickest way to die otherwise.
Primarily, we're going to be using these not on shoots in springs. Having a photographer on one of these and a client not doesn't really provide for a good environment for photography, because the photographer is able to stay down, the client has to come up, it limits communication, and it kind of changes the dynamic. It's just not something that we do. We're going to use these primarily in the pool, actually, for setup. So installing backdrops, installing sets, getting things staged, things like that. We just recently finished a very large shoot with Mayesh, which involved a very large floral installation underwater. And with 4 of us, we were constantly going up and down and up and down and up and down, which can be bad on your ears, and it really exhausts you. So being able to have these units there at the pool, being able to have 2 people stay down would be much more beneficial, much faster, much easier, and not as hard on our bodies to be able to install our sets. One of the biggest struggles is getting those backdrops underwater nice and tight and straight, and using the weights to kind of weight them down and get them adjusted. And when you're only able to stay down on the bottom for about 30, sometimes 45 seconds on a breath hold, it makes it hard to get everything you need done in that time. So these are going to be a significant advantage to doing that.
And just something to note from a safety standpoint is that you should never operate one of these units by yourself. This is partner work only. You should have a plan, plan your dive your plan. You should have excellent communication. You should have redundancy. And truly, you really do need to be a scuba diver and understand a lot of these principles that come into this, because there are additional safety risks that come with it in addition to just, say, free diving on its own. You can really hurt yourself using something with these if you don't know what you're doing. So I highly recommend going to the diveblu3.com website. Take their free class. It's completely free. It's great education. I just completed it this morning. It took me about an hour and a half of my time, and I felt like it was time really well worth spent. And then to clarify, we will be using the Nomad in the springs for the project with the Florida Springs Council. However, we are all certified technical divers. We will have safety divers on points, and we will have a lot of other resources and emergency gear on hand should we need it. So this is not something that we would use with our clients for a shoot because it's going to inhibit direct photographer to client communication. However, when we're working on a professional set like we will be for the FSC, we will have highly trained professionals who will all be in on the plan. We will have designated hand signals and other communication devices so that this can be safely utilized and help us accomplish our objective with less wear and tear, honestly, on our bodies and the other videographers. So I hope that this was really helpful and informative. I am so excited to be able to have a tool like this to use in the pool for backdrop setup. Truly, I think that that is one of the places where we burn our most energy, just messing with backdrops, setting up, setting down, all of that. So this will really be able to be a fantastic tool. But truly, if you're thinking about investing in one of these, take the course first, decide if it's best for you, and then seek additional professional training. You can never have too much cross training. I think that that's one of the tenets of being a water person, is always wanting to learn, grow, dip your toes in other areas, and be as safe as you possibly can.
So with these units, we're going to be using them in a professional capacity, but these are designed for recreational use. So with the Nemo, as we've said, it's got a 10-foot depth limit. It has a 10-foot hose, so you can't really violate that depth limit unless you're going to basically submerge and flood the unit. With the Nomad, having a 30-foot depth limit, has a 40-foot hose, so you have that ability to go deeper than it's rated for. Obviously, we don't want to do that. We could risk not only injury to ourselves, but damage to the unit as well. So we would highly recommend that if you're going to use these in any capacity, make sure you have a bottom timer and a depth gauge, or a wrist-mounted depth gauge, so you can just monitor where you are in the water column, making sure that you're not going below that 30 feet.
As always, for any other safety things, we would really encourage you to join our Facebook group where we have tons of free safety training for anyone going into the underwater realm. It's called Underwater Portraiture with Kimber, and we would love to see you in there. Please feel free to drop any questions below, and have a great day.